Hello, everybody. Welcome to the GM Sports Report, your weekly podcast on all things sports where every play counts. I'm Grant, and I'm here with my co-host Mason as we get ready to cover the latest news, headlines, and upcoming events going on in the sports world. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see all things GM Sports Report. Mason, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Huge win last night for the Knicks. We'll kind of get into it a little later, but yeah, big win for the Knicks, and then Yankees got a walk off in extras. So pretty good night for New York.
That's good, man. Real quick, I just want to address this. This will be a shorter episode this week, maybe not, but we were traveling earlier this week, so that's why this episode is going to be out later in the week this time around. So for those who are tuning in, thank you for watching. And yeah, we had a good trip. We went to New York together and saw some Yankees games. And yeah, it was a fun trip. And we're back now and we're ready to make this video.
Absolutely.
All right. So with that being said, we're going to start out our episode like how we start out every episode, and that is with our hot take of the week. So I'll let you go ahead and begin with that.
Yeah. So speaking of Yankees, I think that the Yankees are a better team when Devin Williams is not pitching, and that's just for now. He's gone through a very rough stretch. 5 blown saves so far this season. Been over 10 plus ERA twice now this season, and gets himself into trouble that he just can't get out of. Luckily, last night he had a pretty good performance. I don't know kind of what Boone was thinking. We might have just been out of arms, but we put Devin Williams in top of the 10th, and he ended up having the bases loaded. I think it was just 1 out, so he was able to, luckily get out of that. But yeah, just situations like that, it really makes you kind of scared whenever he comes in. I know when we were at the game, was that Monday night, and he came in, everyone was like, "Oh no!" And then exactly what happened: blown a save, 3-run loss. So
Yeah, he's been off to a brutal start this season, so I can see where you're coming from. It's just so weird for me as a Cubs fan seeing him
yeah.
struggle because when he was on the Brewers, he looked like the greatest He looked like prime Mariano Rivera whenever he was pitching
Yeah,
against the
yeah, I know.
Cubs. So it's just so weird to see him struggling now. I wish he would have done some of that when he was on the Brewers, but it is what it is. So I agree with that. My hot take of the week. I can't wait to talk about this.
Oh yeah.
Jason Tatum is
hmm
the most overrated player in the NBA. I do not get why there's people talking about how he should be in the MVP race and stuff like that when his track record just shows he does not show up when it matters most. Okay. Outside of last season when they had that Mickey Mouse run to the finals, when they were playing all those banged up teams to get all the way to the finals, and he wasn't even the best player on the team, by the way, because he didn't even win finals MVP that season.
hmm
Outside of that, they haven't done a whole lot of winning. Um, Maybe in the regular season, sure, but I remember them playing a 8th seed in Miami Heat a few seasons ago and having a 97% chance to win, and they lost that series. And then fast forward to this season, we're going into this Knicks Celtics series, and they're saying, "Oh, there's a better chance for the Knicks to be swept than for them to win this series." And the Knicks walked into their trap, took it over, and looking absolutely horrendous. He's 5 of 20 from 3 right now. Um, yeah, I just don't get why this player is so hyped up. I do not see it when they're talking about Jason Tatum and how great he is. I just don't get it because I was telling you this last night as a Heat fan when we were having all those battles with the Celtics in the playoffs. I wasn't worried about Tatum. I was worried about Jalen
hmm
Brown, Eric White, and even Al Horford more than I was worried about Jason
hmm
Tatum. So I'm so glad that there's finally some light starting to be shined on Jason Tatum right now. I'm the biggest Celtics hater that there is, so a lot of this is from my biased standpoint. But man, he is off to a brutal start, and now he's down 2-0 against a very talented New York Knicks team. So that is my hot take. Jason Tatum is the most overrated player in basketball.
Yeah, I kind of want to touch on that too. So, obviously everyone saw the final shot of game two. He ran to the left side, and as he was going up, I saw the picture of it, and he was looking to pass it. He wasn't even trying to
Mm-hmm.
shoot it. So,
Yeah.
um, in that situation, if you're an all-star, like superstar caliber player trying to be, in these big time name debates, MVP debates, you got to take that shot if you feel confident about that. You're getting, the time was running out too. And the guy, I don't even know he was passing it to. It might have been Al on the top or Derek White, but it just McCall ran over, blocked it, and you saw the look on Tatum's face, and it was pure shock and just
Hmm.
upsetness. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was crazy.
Yeah, and Joe Mazzulla, don't think I forgot about you, buddy. I'm going to talk about you a little bit later when we get to the playoff segment of this show. So don't think I forgot about you either, Joe Mozzarella. Um, all right. Now we're going to head into the underdog of the week. So I'll let you go ahead and take that away.
Yeah, so my underdog probably has shown the most heart, at least in last night's game, and that is Russell Westbrook. He dropped 18 in game one and then 19 in game two. Seemed to be the only guy still giving it like 100%, being down by 40. What was it, like halftime or something?
Yeah.
Only like he's coming off the bench too, and he's only getting about 20, 25 minutes a game. So um, he's just doing the absolute most he can with what he has, and you can really show the veteran leadership that he brings. And hopefully, Nuggets can switch it around, but we'll get into that a little later as well.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot. Like you said, he's been playing his heart out there, and he always will. That's who he is.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that a lot. My underdog of the week, I'm going with kind of a team from a team standpoint here. Although I do want to specify one player as well, and that's Tyrese Halliburton and the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah.
They're off to a phenomenal
Mm-hmm.
start in this series, up 2-0. I get that the Cavs, had some injuries in that game too, but look, I could talk about this. I'm going to talk about this more in depth when we talk about the series itself. I don't get why these guys are out right now. This is like do or die. This is the playoffs. This is not
Right.
game 32
Right.
in the regular season, but I'll get in more depth of that. Um, yeah, Tyrese Halliburton and those Pacers, they're off to a phenomenal start. Did exactly what the Knicks did, went into the other team's home court and took it over. And ever since that who's the most overrated player in the league thing came out, that it was
Yeah.
Halliburton, he's been playing different, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think I saw something saying there was only one game in this playoff so far that he didn't have a double-double. And he's hit multiple game winners now in this playoff run. He's looked absolutely fantastic. So shout out to Halliburton and the Pacers. They look really good right now, and they're the ultimate underdog right now because they're playing against the 1 seed. So I thought they deserved the
Mm-hmm.
shout out this week.
100%.
All right. Now, with that being said, we are going to slide over to the NBA and go kind of our thoughts on each series and where it's at right now and what we predict it to be and all those kind of things. Just little breakdowns for each series. And we're going to start out with the Cavs versus the Indiana Pacers. Mason, what are your thoughts on this series so far?
Yeah, so you kind of touched on it a little bit with the with some of the Cavs guys being out, some of their big name players, and you're now down 2-0, and the Pacers are absolutely taking advantage of every single thing you give them. So when you have a young, hungry team like that who really needs to prove themselves, they're going to come out swinging. And for the Cavs to not be 100%, and I don't know if it's from a coaching standpoint of making sure your guys are in, or if you're just lackadaisical with it, just letting them sit out when you really need them, especially being at home. I was gonna say this for my Knicks talking point, but when you're an underdog team and you come in to the series, take both away games into that insane environment of that top team, there's no way that you're not going to have some kind of momentum, like, and just confidence going back home to Indiana. So that's the same with the Knicks as well. So I'm not going to say that again, but
Yeah.
it's just absolute mayhem, and we'll see what they could do at home.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I remember what they used to say about Pat Riley. He'd tell his teams, like, look, you steal one on the road and you're in pretty good shape, let alone two. So
Hmm.
those teams stealing those two games are absolutely huge. And that's going to play a huge factor moving forward in this series. The Cavs Pacers series, I'm watching this and I'm thinking, why is Darius Garland out with a sprained toe right now? I
Hmm.
mean, come on. Is it that bad to where you
Yeah.
can't run around on a basketball court and distribute the basketball like you're known to do, facilitate really well for the team, get guys open shots, and hit a few threes here and there. It's not like you play defense anyway. I know you're getting on Hero last series about how he doesn't play defense. It's not like you're some defensive player of the year candidate anyway, so you might as well just go out there and play some offense on a sprained toe. I mean, I do not get that at all. I think they're getting way too cute. I think they're way too cocky as a team, like being the 1 seed and stuff. I think it's gotten to their head. I really liked this team during the regular season and was high on them. But after seeing how their players are talking in post game and media and all that stuff, it seems like they have a pretty big ego and they're about to be humbled by this Indiana Pacers team.
Yeah.
It's you lose that first game at home, you think, all right, all hands on deck now. We need everyone active. And not only was Darius Garland out, but Evan Mobley, debatably the second best player on the team, is out, and DeAndre Hunter, who's one of the best role players on the team, is out. I just don't get that whatsoever. If it's just minor injuries, you guys should be playing through it right now. I mean, this is the playoffs. This isn't the regular season, like I said. So I don't get that at all. And I think that they're in for a rude awakening when they go back to Indiana. I think Indiana is one of the most underrated home court advantages.
Mm-hmm.
That fan base is
Absolutely.
crazy at a home. So I think
Mm-hmm.
I think they're playing a very dangerous game right now because I think the Pacers showed last series against the Bucks. You give that team an inch, they're going to take a mile. Now, granted, I know the Bucks couldn't help the injuries that they had with Dame and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
if there's players out, the Pacers take advantage of that and win those games. So, yeah, I'm interested to see how this series plays out, but I think the Pacers are really on the territory of making an upset happen here.
Yeah, one more talking point, and that is in the middle of the season, we were talking about the Cavs and saying how, this team feels a lot different than the previous 2 seasons when they made it to the playoffs and were, second rounded as well. Um, it it feels different but the same, if that makes sense.
Mm.
To where they still aren't mentally there to where they need to
Yeah,
just get this win. Game 2, like you said, all hands on deck. You have to win this game. You're at home.
yeah,
They're gonna take this game and make it the biggest game of their life. Especially being in that environment. So yeah,
yeah.
I think it's crazy. So we'll see if they can get it back on track away. But it'll be very interesting to see.
Yeah, and then just one last thing to kind of touch on what you were saying about how it feels different but the same at the same time. I think something I learned as being a Heat fan, watching all these underdog Heat teams like have success, is that
Mm-hmm.
like hard work and mindset is way more important in the playoffs than talent is. Like if that makes any sense. Like
Absolutely.
obviously being
Yeah.
a talented team really helps you out a lot. And I think when you say the difference is that this Cavs team's really talented. But the same thing that's going on is their mindset. I think they have a very weak mindset on this team, and that's what's holding them
Yep.
back. And that's just as important in a playoff. You tell a team like look at the Pacers. That's a team that has a great mindset right now and they're going out and doing what they should be doing. They might not be as talented as the Cavs, but it doesn't matter because they have the mindset and the confidence. That's just as big and just as important as having talent on your team. Is everyone in the NBA is talented, but if you get a
Yep.
talented team with a dog mindset that we're
That
going to walk in
mindset.
and take 2 games on the road, then that's the scariest team in basketball. So I'm glad you mentioned that because that's a huge thing. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
exactly what we're seeing right now.
Yep.
All right, now we're going to slide over to the next series, which I know you're very excited to talk about, and that is the Celtics versus the Knicks, who the Knicks are up 2-0 in this series now. So I'll let you go ahead and talk about this.
Yeah. So I mean, just game 1. Grant and I were at the Yankees game going against the Padres, and we check kind of every once in a while, and they're down 20. And for them to come back from that game, it was like, holy crap, okay, that's cool. We got one at home, or we got one away. And game 2, it was like, yeah, I'm expecting to lose this game, I'm expecting to drop it. Went down by 20 again. I'm like, yeah, there's no way we can do it again, right? Sure enough, we do. Um, to come back from 20-point deficits back to back games, if that doesn't show that you don't quit, I don't know what else does. And not only that, I do want to shine some light on the Celtics just shooting absolutely horribly. I think that what are they shooting 25 for
Something like
100
that.
from 3 this series?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely horrendous. So um, you're taking the modern day basketball way too seriously as far as just shooting. They're a great shooting team. Don't get me wrong, But when that's all you do and you don't drive to the paint and try and score some kind of points, especially when you're seeing them come back again like they did in game one, that's horrible coaching. And just allowing these players to just keep letting it fly when all you've been seeing is bricks this series. So they need to get some offensive changes, and I'm really excited to see the Knicks go back home. I'm hoping we just get another one at home. I'm not expecting a sweep. I think I'd be delusional to say that, because we're already doing a lot more than we were, told that we would be doing. So um, if we can get another one at home, series will probably get pushed another 1 or 2 games. They'll probably get another 1 or 2, and it could even go 7. I could really see it go 7. So I think it's anyone's game still. Just gotta take it one game at a time. So yeah,
Yeah.
shout out McCall too.
Yeah, for real. He's looked really good, especially on the defensive end.
Yeah,
When I'm looking at this series, it's kind of like what you were just talking about. Terrible coaching. Joe Mazzulla. When I was saying Tatum's the most overrated player in the league, Joe Mazzulla is the most overrated coach in the league. This guy is not a serious basketball coach. When he plays against seasoned coaches like Tom Thibodeau, Eric Spoelstra, those kind of guys, they outcoach the crap out of him every single
yeah,
time. They scheme, and Joe Mazzulla doesn't know what to do. One thing we knew about this Boston team, it's been their thing for the last 3 seasons now. They live and die by the three. Well, now these 3-pointers ain't falling. So what are you going to do,
not
Joe Mazzulla?
falling.
You're going to just let him keep taking these threes, or are you going to come up with a game
Yep.
plan and change something up, because clearly it's not working for you. And also, the last play of the game, they had a timeout. As soon as you see Tatum
Yeah,
getting
they
into
did.
trouble in that corner, why not call a timeout? There was still like 5 seconds left on the clock, if I'm not mistaken, when he started
Right.
getting into trouble. And call a timeout, reset. But no, he just let it keep going, and that they got a terrible look and lost the game. I just think that this Celtics team is kind of being exposed right now, and I'm super happy about it, as you can tell how fired up I am.
Mm.
But Joe Mazzulla, I just don't get what his game plan is right now. They're just going to keep shooting threes, even though it's clearly not working right now. They're 25 for 100, and yeah, it's very interesting. When I go to the Knicks side, they've done a phenomenal job. Look, another thing, how do you blow 20-point leads? That's what I
Yeah,
was meaning to talk
that's
about.
insane.
Blowing 20-point leads at home, that's just embarrassing. Terrible coaching. If that was like any other coach in the league right now, they'd be like getting
Hot seat.
like crucified right now. Anyways, now I'll go over to the Knicks side. What they've done has been absolutely fantastic. Going into TD Garden and making it MSG part 2, I guess, so to speak. That's been really good for them. Jalen Brunson's looked absolutely phenomenal. 2 really big comebacks. Now you're going back home, probably one of the best home crowds in the league. So it's looking really bright for them. And like you were saying, I don't expect a sweep. I know
Not
that's
at all.
probably not realistic, but I really do think that the Knicks are now the favorites to win this series, and I could see it happening in 6 or 7 games. I think that this homestand for the Knicks will be split 1-1, and
Right.
then anything can happen after that. So I'm excited to see how this series plays out. I really hope that Boston just continues to get exposed, because I've been kind of seeing it for a while. I thought last season their run to the finals and their finals championship was uh, very fluky. They were playing a lot of injured teams, and Tatum wasn't even the best player on that team. So, yeah, I just hope the Knicks keep exposing the Celtics as the series goes.
Yep. I
All
agree.
right. Now we're going to slide over to the West, and we're going to start with the Golden State Warriors versus the Timberwolves.
Yeah. So we saw that Curry went down in game 1, hamstring injury. He's out for game 2 tonight. Warriors still held it down. Jimmy and Buddy Hield had a phenomenal game. I don't know exactly what numbers Buddy put up. I think it was might have been 30 something, maybe 29. I don't remember. But Jimmy did his thing, facilitating, playing defense, scoring when he needs to score. And just the Timberwolves looked lost. Honestly, they didn't look like they were all there. If that makes sense. Kind of just stagnant, running around the court. It felt like, and Gobert had a couple good plays, but I didn't see anything that really wowed me, and that they were on a plan to get the win. So I'm really interested to see kind of what they do tonight and if they can kind of backtrack and get back to where they were. We need a big game from Ant. Randall in the post. Kind of get big and strong like he's supposed to be, and Dante some threes. So yeah, we'll see if they can capitalize with Curry being out.
Yeah. I thought that the game one was a very valiant effort from the guys on the Warriors, like you said, Buddy Hield and Butler, kind of leading that team to being able to squeak out one without Steph Curry. But it looks like this Steph Curry injury might be a lingering thing from here on out, and that's not a good
Yep.
thing. This Timberwolves team, I
Yep.
expect them to win game two with Curry being out. And if Curry's out for, let's say the rest of this series, I don't
Series.
think the
Yeah.
Warriors will be able to uh, pull it off. I think every now and then they can sneak in a win here and there, but I think that if he's out for the series, they're in serious trouble because they need Steph Curry at the end of the day. Let's face it. And the Timberwolves are no joke of a team. They got a very talented team right now. They have a lot of momentum. So yeah, I think that the Warriors are in a lot of trouble if this Steph Curry injury is a lingering thing that continues to haunt them.
Yeah. Another thing too is that Buddy obviously had a great game, but can we see like can he stay consistent with that with Curry being out?
Yeah,
I don't personally think so. He has his highs, but I don't think his highs are that consistent.
yeah.
So
And here's the thing: now the Timberwolves are going to be game planning for Buddy Hield, so it's going to be a whole
absolutely,
different story.
yeah,
All right, now we're going to go ahead and slide into the final series, and that is the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Denver Nuggets.
yeah. So series got tied up 1-1 after last night's butt whooping in OKC. Just Denver lost by I think it was by 40 points, and Thunder put up 70, I think 3 in the second quarter.
Yeah, it set a
You know,
record.
it's in there. Yeah, so it's just absolutely insane. SGA was balling, but like I said earlier in my underdog of the week, Russell Westbrook really seemed like the only guy that was still 100% in it after they got put down by so much. So they obviously took the starters out at a certain point, and everyone was just kind of playing at that point. But uh, it's all about the start, and if you can't get that start as strong as you need it to be, especially with a talented team like Oklahoma City, um, I think that it could get very dangerous. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. If they can get it back.
Yeah. I think that we were kind of talking about this last night, but when this OKC team is like rolling and, firing on all cylinders, they
Mhm.
are by far the best team in basketball. I mean, they're such a perfectly balanced
Absolutely.
team between scoring and shooting and length and height to defense and athleticism. Like they have it all. They're perfectly balanced. And when they play well and they're, firing it on all cylinders, so to speak, they look like a team that's going to win a championship. So I think that the Nuggets are a very good test for them because the Nuggets obviously have experience, but I don't see this
Hmm.
this series going more than 6 games. I think the Thunder are going to win at five
Right.
or six. Um, yeah, I think that last night was a very telling win for them that they're going to be able to handle this Nuggets team pretty easily. I think that they needed that game
Yeah.
one loss to kind of wake them up and light a fire under them. And now it's kind of
Hmm.
watch out Nuggets, I think.
Right. Right.
All right. So that's going to pretty much wrap up our NBA segment. So now we're going to go ahead and slide over to the MLB and real quick just give our player and team of the week. So Mason, I'll let you go ahead and start with your player of the week.
Yeah, so my player of the week is Riley Green, Detroit's outfielder. 266 batting average, 8 home runs, 21 ribbies, 37 hits. He's been killing it. Especially that the Detroit team's been playing pretty well as well.
Mhm.
Kind of picked up where they left off last season in the playoffs. So, yeah, just been balling. It's my player of the week.
Yeah, I also picked someone from Detroit for my player of the week, but it was not Riley Green. This is just one of the things that's made me most happy so far this season, seeing this happen, and
Oh yeah,
that's going with the player Javier Baez. He's finally having a good season again, a really good season actually. He's off to a
Mm-hmm.
313 batting average with 31 hits, 3 home runs, 18 RBIs, and 15 runs scored in 29 games. This is just making me super happy as a huge Cubs fan. Obviously, I love Javier Baez, and I always want to see him do well. So seeing him kind of get that confidence and that joy back into playing again and playing really productive baseball, it makes me really happy to see. So I wanted to go with him as my player of the
Mm-hmm.
week because it's made me very happy to see him play some meaningful baseball again.
Yeah.
All right, now we're going to go ahead and give our team of the week. So I'll let you take that away.
Yeah, if you've been watching this podcast, I absolutely despise Philly, but just gotta give them a quick shout out. Won 8 in the last 10, 21 of 15, second in the NL East behind the Mets. Can't deny that Schwarber's been absolutely amazing. Kyle Schwarber, 264 batting average, 12 home runs, 28 ribbies. They've been looking really good. Bryce Harper's been playing well. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. They've looked fantastic. Like you said, Schwarber, who usually is known to start heating up towards the middle end of a
Mm-hmm.
season, has been off to an incredible start. So that's good to see for them. And yeah, I agree with that pick. For my team of the week, I'm going on the negative side. I think this is a team that kind of needs to be looked at with a uh, closer look because this is a team that a lot of people had expecting, potentially winning their division, and they're off to a terrible start. And that's the Baltimore Orioles. They're 13-22,
Yeah.
which makes them last in their division, and they are 3-7 in their last 10 games. Something's really wrong with
Insane.
this team right now. They're not the Orioles of the last couple seasons. I don't know what's going on, but like I said, this is a team that I picked to win the AL East this season, and they're dead last in the division right now. And it's not looking like it's going to get any better. So, yeah, that's my team of the week. I think that they, deserve to be looked at and frowned upon a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. All right, and then last thing, we're going to slide over to the NFL because one minor piece of news happened, and that is George Pickens being traded to the Dallas Cowboys. Mason, what are your thoughts on this trade?
Yeah, you say minor, but I honestly, in my opinion, I think it's a pretty big headline, especially for the Steelers, because apart from what they just acquired this offseason, DK Metcalf, they really don't have a lot going on offense. And for you to trade a key guy like that, who's shown that he can be an elite receiver, um, I don't understand why they do that. And not only just trading him away, you trade him away for 3 picks, two of them being this year's draft, and the next one like a 6th round in 2027. You don't get a quarterback. You still don't have a quarterback on your active roster who can do something. You got Mason Rudolph. We all saw how he has turned out in his career. So, the Cowboys, I think it'll be a pretty big acquisition for them because they have that wide receiver too, in George Pickens, who again, like I said, has proved himself and can catch the ball very well. The only problem I can see with George Pickens is his character and his attitude on the team. If he doesn't get some targets and some looks, it could get pretty interesting to see because he's always been wide receiver as long as he's been in the NFL. Wide receiver one, sorry. And now with you're pairing him with a much better receiver in CD Lamb, I think things could get toxic if he does not, adjust accordingly.
Yeah, pretty much agree with everything you said. I don't get what the Steelers are doing, making this trade. Like you said, you don't get a quarterback back. You make that big trade for DK Metcalf earlier in the offseason just to trade Pickens away and lose Najee Harris and lose practically all your offensive weapons. And now you have Mason Rudolph throwing the ball to DK Metcalf this season. I mean, what are you doing right now? I don't see their
I
angle or
know.
their route right now. It's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out for them. I don't think it's going to play out very well for them. And then I go to the
Not at
Dallas
all.
Cowboys side. I think it's a good acquisition, but like this isn't like, oh, they're a Super Bowl caliber team now or anything like that. I mean,
Yeah,
let's
no.
face it, it's Dak Prescott still throwing them the ball at the end of the day,
Yeah, that's
and we know
true.
how that goes. And like you said, I think CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens both have pretty big egos, so I think that can go sour pretty quickly if things don't go the right way. So I think although they definitely got better in this trade, I think that is not like something that's gonna, really
Right,
make
right.
them Super Bowl contention teams kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I think Pickens is talented and he'll definitely help out the Cowboys, but we'll see. I don't get what the Steelers were doing. That's for sure.
Not at all. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's pretty much going to wrap up the episode. So thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode of the GM Sports Report, where every play counts. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to be able to see our weekly episodes on All Things Sports. For additional content, check the description to see links to our Instagram and TikTok account. This is Grant and Mason. Sign off for now. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you, guys.